Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Taiwan-born New York City jazz trombonist Michael Wang. His debut 2019 CD is called Bone of the Wang, and it's a great one. He was born and raised in Taiwan, and after graduating from the Berklee College of Music in 2017, he headed out to New York City, and he's been making a name for himself ever since. Over the years, he's played with Small's Legacy Band, Mingus Big Band, Rubin's Orchestra, and so much more. Please get to know him and dig this interview, my friends.
Okay, Michael, hey, thanks for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Hey, so let me start off here. I got your CD, Bone of the Wang, and I really have dug it. And I just want to know from you, what was kind of your vision with this release?
I would say there are a couple of things about this album. Like, first of all, this recording is a documentation of my development as an artist up to this point of my life. Everything that I practiced up to this point of my career up until the day of the recording was what I intended to put out on this record. So in a way, it's like a documentation of my development as an artist. Also, in terms of the compositions on the album, I wrote all the music on the album besides Anthropology, which by Charlie Parker, which I arranged. Every song on the album contains a certain musical element of passion. I guess all the songs are based upon certain life experiences that I had. And the compositions kind of reflects upon the passionate feelings I draw upon from those life experiences.
Yeah, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Taiwan, in Taipei, Taiwan. My family immigrated to the... I have a younger brother who was also born in Taiwan, and we immigrated to the States when I was 4 years old. And then I grew up in Sacramento, California for my grade school years. During my last year in high school, I received a full scholarship to attend the Berklee College of Music in Boston.
What was it about the trombone that allured you to it?
When I was 11 years old, I joined my middle school's band class, and the music teacher had us pick an instrument. I was a pianist up to the point like before I switched to the trombone. I studied classical piano from the age of 6 up until middle school. And then when I was 11, my music teacher had us pick an instrument, and I chose the trombone because it looked cool. It had a slide that moved, and I thought that was really interesting. I was drawn to the trombone because of that mechanism, and I've been playing it since.
So what about early jazz albums or musicians that really inspired you?
Some of the first albums that I checked out that got me into jazz specifically, I think the first one was J.J. Johnson, the trombone master, and then along with that was John Coltrane's Blue Train recording. Those are the two I were listening to first.
So a lot of people in the jazz world dream of making it to New York City. You have. What's it been like for you to get involved with New York City, and how's everything going now?
It's going pretty well. Actually, I wanted to move to New York as soon as I graduated high school, actually, because I already had a lot of musician friends that I made during my grade school years. My high school did a lot of competitions, and I met a lot of people around the country who were planning to go to New York. I was thinking maybe I could attend the New School or Manhattan School of Music and join my buddies, and I ended up going with Berklee. Looking back, I'm glad I chose to spend a little time outside, just getting my craft together. After I graduated, I decided that New York was where I wanted to be, and it's been interesting so far. I've just been playing a lot with a lot of different bands and listening to a lot of great musicians play and being inspired every day.
So what was one of the first live jazz shows that you ever saw?
I think the very first one I saw was my high school jazz band, because my high school had a really strong music program, and we had different levels of jazz band. When I was an incoming freshman, I saw a concert where my top high school big band performed, and I was kind of blown away. Yeah, I was really inspired. And then later on, I got to see Wayne Shorter quartets with Danilo Perez, John Patitucci, Brian Blade. They came to the Sacramento area, and I got to see them when I was I think 11th or 12th, one of the first the major bands I saw.
Right on. Why do you love jazz?
If it wasn't for jazz, if I hadn't been exposed to jazz, I probably wouldn't be playing music today. I'd be pursuing something else in life. I think jazz is something that I have like a strong personal connection with. Like when I'm improvising on the trombone, like creating music in the moment, like I feel sort of connection. The freedom of being able to play jazz, to improvise music on the spot, I think is one of the greatest things ever, and I believe that's why I love it so much.
So if you were to come to Kansas City and play live and you had to explain what your sound or what your concert's like, what would you say? How would you describe it?
The sound of my music is not straight ahead bebop jazz. It's more is like a progressive type, and I tend to incorporate a lot of folkloric elements like pop, rock. Like I draw upon all sorts of different musical influences. It's not just straight ahead jazz. It's kind of hard to describe like my sound in words, but I guess like that those are sort of like the main things you would expect if I were to give a live performance.
So my final question is this. Everyone has a perception of who they think you are. Your family, your friends, your listeners. Who do you think you are?
I think I am a music lover who also happens to play music. I guess that's how I would describe myself. I guess I'm born with a gift where like I'm not only able to listen and appreciate music, but I can use music as an ability to sort of communicate to others without words. Because music to me is like a wordless universal language. Being able to communicate in that way is something so important and powerful. I would describe myself as a person who not only loves music so much, but I also happen to play music. I'm a musician.
Michael, thank you for taking some time out today to talk to Neon Jazz. I appreciate it. Good luck with everything.
Oh, thank you, Joe.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in Taiwan, New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Michael for his talents, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.